Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. So Charlie Edwards comes back with a wide unanimous decision victory over Georges Ory of France, who I have to say I knew very, very little about. But it was on the cards, it was wide. It was 98-92, all three cards, and I actually had it the same. It was a pretty easy fight to score. But that doesn't quite tell the whole story, because Georges Ory, even though he was completely outboxed and Charlie used a lot of movement throughout the entire fight. Wasn't running, well, maybe at times you could say he was running, but he was firing punches back. It wasn't as if he was just tapping and trying to pinch rounds. He was trying to win the rounds. And at times he did exchange with Georges Ory. Now, this was essentially a rust shedder, because Charlie's had, I think, about 4 fights in 5 years or something. It was against lower level guys. He lost his WBC, or he vacated, I think, his WBC flyweight title. And he just couldn't get going. He couldn't. He had problems with, trainers and so on and so forth, and promoters. And he's ended up with Wasserman on Channel 5. And this 10 rounds will have done him the absolute world of good. He's 31 now, but he's a very well-preserved 31, because he hasn't been fighting much. And this was a perfect opponent, Georges Ory, who came in with 17 wins, 3 defeats, and 1 draw. He's a former EBU champ. He's only got 2 knockouts or stoppages in the wins column. He lost his EBU title, or I don't know whether he was the champ. I think he was the champ, and he lost it to Karim Gurfi, I think it's pronounced, who has been to Britain a few times. He got done in a round, actually, by, I think, Lee McGregor and, it was Lee McGregor and Michael Conlon, I think. Perhaps that was over in Ireland. But he himself has been an EBU champion. I think he's been the EBU champ twice, Gurfi, I think his name is Guerfi. How do you pronounce that? Gurfi? Karim Gurfi. Anyway, so he got stopped, Ory did, by Mr. Gurfi, but at the same time, he's held the EBU title. And just as a little aside, when I was looking at BoxRec earlier, he's currently, Georges Ory, is currently the WBC Francophone Bantamweight champion. What is that? Francophone, but I didn't know such a title existed. Now, a Francophone is someone who comes from a predominantly French-speaking country. But he won it against an Argentinian, Pablo Ariel Gomez, I think the guy's name was. And do they speak French in Argentina? I don't know. Maybe there is a section of the population that speaks French, like a big section. But, I mean, the WBC, wherever there's a quid to be made, they'll invent some stupid belt. And I don't mean this disrespectfully to Georges Ory, who, he did fight. He's just got outboxed by Edwards. I mean, Edwards moved an awful lot. From the word go, Ory is actually listed as a southpaw, but came out conventional, like orthodox stance. And then he switched back, and I'm not too keen on switch hitting unless there's a method to the madness, or a method to, some sort of game plan that involves switch hitting. Then I don't like to see people just doing it for the sake of it. I think it's sort of waste mental energy, but there are some people who are great switch hitters, Bud Crawford obviously, and actually Sonny Edwards switch hits very well as well. But yeah, Edwards won this fight. He was exchanging when he had to, moving an awful lot. He picked up a slight sort of abrasion around the left eye early on, about second round. It wasn't no big deal. He said afterwards that he had come into the fight with a cut he suffered in his last spar. But it must have been minor, because there was no real damage that I could see anyway. And post-fight, Charlie Edwards was very, very emotional. He was in tears, and he was saying, it'd been a horrible few years for him, and he hadn't been earning any money, and his wife was having to keep him and his daughter, and he's a proud man. He wants to go out and earn a living, look after his family and so on. I get all that, But this, like I say, this was an excellent rust shedder, but it was against a very light-hitting European-level fighter. And if Charlie is talking about going up to world level, he's got his work cut out. I would have another couple of 10 rounders against similar opposition just to sort of get your engine warmed up and well oiled and all the rest of it. Because if you're talking bantamweight, which is where he is now, I mean, IBF, you've got Emmanuel Rodriguez, who's the champ, Takuma Inoue, who is the younger brother of Naoya Inoue. He holds, I think, the WBA belt, and Junto Nakatani holds the WBC belt. What have I missed out? WBO. Maloney, one of the Maloney twins, Andrew Maloney. So they're all good fighters and they're all worthy champions. And so if he wants to move up to world level, I wouldn't hurry it. I mean, I know he's 31, but like I say, he's well preserved. And get another couple of 10 rounders. At the York Hall, like this one was. Why not? Why not? Do I see him beating any of the world champs? Maloney would be a good fight. That'd be a good fight. I don't see him beating Inoue, Nakatani, or Rodriguez, to be honest. At least not now. Give him a fight, but no, I think he can get to world class. Whether he can win belts or not, I'm not too sure about that. He was getting hit by single punches by the very light punching Ory. And Ory, did his best, but he just couldn't put a dent in Edwards. He was cutting off the ring at times quite well. And when he did, Edwards was quite happy to exchange with him because he knew Ory didn't have any power, I think. If that was someone like, Nakatani or Inoue or someone, it might very well be a different story, a different end result anyway. But, all credit to Charlie Edwards. He's come back. He's a good little addition to bantamweight scene. I hope he can keep the momentum going and get some fights, more fights. Like I say, another couple of 10 rounders. I don't see a problem with that. Maybe over the next 6 months or so, say two more 10 rounders before the end of the year. Certainly, at least. But let me know what you think. Did you watch this fight? It was on Channel 5, and it was promoted by Wasserman. And because he's got this, WBC trinket, he gets a ranking. This Callis Allen mentioned that. So let me know what you think. How far do you think Charlie Edwards can go? Do you think he's a realistic proposition at world level or not? Do you think he might fall a little bit short? You tell me. Give me your opinions. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching this video. I always appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and also hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. And spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Much love to all of you. Take care. See you later. Bye for now.